What's going on, my Century Unit? It's the Sentiment here, so back again with another classic WrestleMania pay-per-view review. So this time we're going back to the year of 2003 to review WrestleMania 19, the first WrestleMania of the Ruthless Aggression era. So this show was at Safeco Field. Right now it's called the T-Mobile Park in Seattle, Washington on the 30th of March 2003. The attendance of the show was 54,097. WrestleMania 19 received about 560,000 pay-per-view buys. Only dispute in North America. Don't know the worldwide buy rate for this show, so I'm going to go with 560,000. A massive downgrade than the previous year's WrestleMania. That is WrestleMania 18 in Canada in 2002. It's the final WrestleMania under the WWF name, and also the final WrestleMania of the Attitude Era. The main event was Chris Jericho defending the undisputed WWF Championship against Triple H. Also on that same night, you had Hulk Hogan versus The Rock. It was at the Toronto Sky Dome, and WrestleMania 18 received about 860,000 pay-per-view buys. Yeah, it went down. On top of this WrestleMania, WrestleMania 19, the buy rate went down than the previous year's WrestleMania. So anyway, this show, WrestleMania 19, is memorable for many things. Like I said, it was the first WrestleMania under the Ruthless Aggression era. This was the first WrestleMania under the WWE name, and the first WrestleMania of the first brand split, because the brand split's been around for almost a year. It was formed the previous year in March of 2002. And I think this is the one and only WrestleMania in the state of Washington, because this show is in Seattle. I don't think they'll go back to Washington anytime soon to do a WrestleMania in Washington D.C. On paper, it might be cool with the White House pay-per-view set. I don't want to see any president impersonators, going back to a great example, Catapult Punishment 2011. You got the fake Barack Obama. That's another story for another time. So they'll never do the bite, because we had WrestleMania in New Jersey, but recent WrestleManias, they end up going to in Florida and California, and some degree in Texas, in Dallas in WrestleMania 32. But I wish they go back to do WrestleMania around countries not countries, but around states like massive, like Boston. I mean cities, but Boston, or go do a show in MSG. But who knows? But anyway, so the commentators for this show, for Raw we got JR and the King. For SmackDown, we got Michael Cole and Taz. So before we get to the actual matches on the show, I'm going to talk about this segment. Let's go back to the buy rate before we get to this. I'll get to the segment a little shortly, but I think I heard this is the lowest buy rate they had for years. And just because it's got a bad buy rate doesn't mean this show is bad. No, this show is good. Despite of the buy rate was low. I think it's the same buy rate for WrestleMania 6 way back in 1990. It's been lower. I think it's lower since the mid-90s WrestleMania. I think it's around between, I'm guessing WrestleMania 13 or 12. I'm not really sure. Anyway, so there was no bad matches on the show, but there's only a bad segment. So this revolves around the Miller Lite. Was it Miller Lite? What's it called? The Miller Lite Catfight Girls. They're called. They are. I'm gonna butcher these women's names. They are Tanya Bollinger and Katana Baker. Yeah, the Miller Lite Catfight Girls. I'm gonna just call them the Catfight Girls. Anyway, so they're you could say they're kind of the celebrities for this WrestleMania. Their segments, they're collabing with Stacy Keibler and Tori Wilson. I think one of them were on a cover of Playboy. It's funny, the last WrestleMania I review on this channel was WrestleMania 24. That That was the last WrestleMania of the Ruthless Aggression era before the company went PG. They did like a tag team match revolving around Playboy. You know, Maria Kanellis and shit. Actually, I go watch my WrestleMania 24. I'm not gonna talk about that. Revolve around Snoop Dogg. I know it's like Beth Phoenix, Melina. Oh yeah, I know. I remember now. It's Beth Phoenix, Melina, Maria Kanellis, Ashley Massaro. So that was the last women's match revolving around Playboy before the company went PG. I think. Anyway, so you know, anyway. So they're kind of arguing, like not in a shouty way. It was like they did a segment later on the show. They had this fatal four-way pillow fight that was hosted by Jonathan Coachman, aka the Coach. This is months before the Coach becoming an actual character on WWE programming. They had this pillow fight, the match in a known contest, and they kind of pants the Coach, or it's just what it is, and they kind of endorse they're kind of like also the friends. I don't really get this segment. Before that, you're like one of the, I think it's Bollinger or Baker. They're arguing who like founded WrestleMania. They say Mr. McMahon or Hulk Hogan. I think it's Bollinger saying like Hulk Hogan. Like I don't know if that Bollinger, she's from Canada or something. I don't know. But anyway, so this segment kind of waste of time. I guess I say if you watch my previous wrestling reviews in the past, I say segments and pay-per-views just simply do not work. It just came across a segment you probably see on weekly wrestling programming, because wrestling pay-per-views are designed for the live-action hero. Not live-action hero. I mean a live-action reel. My apologies. They're designed to be a live-action reel. We're focused more on the action, less than the segment. So anyway, but there's barely any celebrities for this WrestleMania. Like great example, in my going back to my last WrestleMania review, that was WrestleMania 24. They had like not chunks, but you got like notable celebrity names of that WrestleMania in 2008. Floyd Mayweather, a boxer. Snoop Dogg, a rapper. I think I forgot. I think I did mention about I think I mentioned that person's name. I think, but if not, I'm gonna explain right now. WrestleMania 24 had Kim Kardashian. This is before the. This is the not before. This is like the start when the Keeping Up the Kardashian show kind of kicked off, and Kim was young. She was in her late 20s. Right now, in our current timeline, in 2023, she is in her 40s. Man, she's 42 years of age. She haven't aged a bit, so that's got like celebrities. And then let's go back to WrestleMania in 2003. There's Benny and celebrities. I think the only celebrity of that WrestleMania was Limp Bizkit, Freddie Durst. But besides that, if anyone know who is, I don't think if anyone know who is Tanya Bollinger and Katana Baker is, like I think people don't know who they really are. Who are the women? Those women are. It's very lackluster to bring in celebrities for this WrestleMania. Like, great example. I'll throw another great example name before we get to the actual matches of WrestleMania 19. Great example, like Big Show versus Aki Bono in a sumo match at WrestleMania 21 in 2005. 2 years later, Big Show lost to Aki Bono. Like, I bet a lot of people don't know who Aki Bono is. It's just like, yeah. Anyway, I'm trying to keep it short and simple. I don't want to ramble too much, but it's just kind of like you kind of throw this. They cut off one of the match, throwed it on heat for this segment. It didn't really serve a purpose. Yeah, it's get like a little bit of all the eyeballs to the crowd. Like of half naked women. Like great example, Tori Wilson was. She had good racks. She's still good. To this day, she has a good body, Tori Wilson, but that's it. It's just there for the eye candy. That's it. Didn't really serve any purpose. Didn't mean anything. It's just a pillow fight of a sake of a. It's basically a pillow fight, sake of a pillow fight. It's just what it is. Like, you gotta have some women anywhere. Even though we got a women's title match on the show, we'll get to that later on in this review. So, anyway, that's my 2 cents on it. I don't want to ramble too much. I want to talk about the matches on the show. So anyway, I gotta mention this. before I forget, this WrestleMania was the debut of John Cena. You're not gonna find John Cena on the network on the main show. He kind of appeared on an episode of Heat before WrestleMania. At the time, his hip hop gimmick was White Heart. He's holding the a cutout cardboard cutout of Fabulous. There's rumors, legends that there were plans to do John Cena doing a rap battle with Fabulous, but Fabulous kind of pulled out. So yeah, people say WrestleMania 20 was John Cena's debut. Nope, WrestleMania 19 was John Cena's debut because it's doing this cutout with the cutout the cardboard cutout of Fabulous. And then, the following year's WrestleMania in MSG in 2004, he had his first WrestleMania match against the Big Show for the United States Championship. That was technically Cena's first championship in his career as in the WWE. I got it's a fact. People say WrestleMania 20 was John Cena's WrestleMania debut. Nope, it was WrestleMania 19. So. Anyway, so the first before that, there's the only match on Heat. This is you could say first of 6 championship matches on this WrestleMania. So the only match on Sunday Night Heat. This is for the actually not W. This is for the World Tag Team Championships on Raw. So we got Chief Morley, aka former Val Venus, teaming up with Lance Storm with the Dudley Boys, defending the belt against Rob Van Dam and Kane. If you don't know why is Chief Morley's teaming up with Lance Storm, Chief Morley is, like I said, the former Val Venus. It's funny that Val Venus, pitted in the Battle Royal at WrestleMania 24 in 2008. That was okay. I think he was still doing the porn gimmick, the porn star gimmick, even though this is the final month before the company went PG. Anyway, so at the time in 2003, Chief Morley, you could say the assistant to Eric Bischoff on Raw, because like I said, the first WrestleMania of the first brand split. Chief Morley was filling in for William Regal because Regal suffered a heart parasite, a life-threatening heart parasite when the company was touring in India. So Chief Morley was filling in for Regal for the rest of their tag team title reign. So that's a bit of a recap on it. Why Morley's teaming up with Lance Storm instead of Storm and Regal. They've been tag along for months now. They were part of the Un-Americans, and now as a tag team, Regal waving the Canadian flag. And Storm wave, not Canadian flag, the United Kingdom flag, the British flag. My apologies. And Storm waving the Canadian flag. Anyway, they retained the tag team titles by the help by the Dudley Boys. The Dudleys performed the 3D Deadly Death Drop onto Storm, and which that Bubba dropped the elbow onto RVD, and they kind of allows to have Storm pin RVD to win this match and retain the tag team titles. Unfortunately, that never lasts long because the following night on Raw, RVD and Kane went on to defeat Morley and Storm for the tag team titles, and then they hold the belt until June, and then Kane unmasked, and the rest is history. So anyway, the first match to kick off WrestleMania 19, this is for the Cruiserweight Championship, second of 6 championship matches on this WrestleMania. So we got Matt Hardy version 1 with Shannon Moore, his Manitou follower, in the corner of Matt Hardy, defending the Cruiserweight Championship against Rey Mysterio. Matt Hardy's in his middle of his first and only reign as the Cruiserweight Champion. He defeat Billy Kidman at the previous month's pay-per-view No Way Out in Montreal to win the Cruiserweight Championship. So Rey Mysterio came out wearing the Daredevil costume. It's not the 2015 Charlie Cox Netflix Daredevil show. No, this is the Ben Affleck movie. Just came out at that time. I want to one day review it, because I think last month was the 20th anniversary of that film. And it's funny, like the last wrestling pay-per-view with Rey Mysterio in it was WCW World War III '96 in a match against the Ultimate Dragon for the J Crown Championship. Rey Mysterio was dressing up like Spider-Man. This at the time back in '96. You had the animated Spider-Man show. This is years before the live-action film. It's good to see Rey. If you watch Rey Mysterio matches over the years, he end up dressing up like comic book characters, whether it's Batman, whether it's Spider-Man, whether it's Wolverine, whether it's Captain America, Daredevil. I kudos to Ray, because everyone knows Ray is a big fan of comic books. I think at WrestleMania 2010, he dressed up like a character from Avatar. Anyway, so yeah, he paying homage to pop culture. So anyway, so I don't really talk about commentators when I review a wrestling show. Like Taz was saying some really edgy shit. Like he said, like Matt Hardy's off the BJ's, banana juice. He's drinking tea. He just saw him and Shannon Moore teabagging each other. It's like, I'm not saying Taz is gay. He's not gay. He's got a son, Hook. It's just like, wow, Taz in way back in 2003 can say some stupid, not stupid shit, but crazy shit. So anyway, the match was short. It's the shortest match of the show. It's only lasted about 5 minutes long. And yeah, I wish they had more minutes, man. I wish they scrapped the catfight girl segment and give more time to probably this match. I think they needed more, but on the flip side, I think it was a good match. It was a fun match to watch. Shannon did got involved a bit. One more of the match, Ray grabbed Matt. Matt was holding on the ref, and then Shannon Moore kicked Ray in the gut to stop Ray hitting the sunflip powerbomb. It was fun. I wish they had more time to fresh it out, in my opinion. So he did interfere, but he didn't really interfere too much. I think he played a massive part to help Matt Hardy retain the title. Spoiler alert, he did. Anyway, so uh, Ray was going for the 619. Shannon Moore tripped Rey Mysterio up. Matt hit the twist of fate. Ray kicked out for the near fall, and then Ray, I think he hit like the West Coast pop, or a springboard. I think it was a springboard leg drop onto Matt Hardy. This was before he actually hit the 619. Then Ray hit the 619 on Matt Hardy. Then he was going for the West Coast pop. Matt Hardy ducked. He ducked into the rope. He kind of ducked away. He kind of ducked away from Ray's West Coast pop attempt. In the end, Ray was going for like a a roll up, but Matt Hardy countered it. I think he grabbed Mysterio's pants and holding the ropes as leverage to win this match and retain the Cruiserweight Championship. So yeah, it was a fun match. And at the time, Matt Hardy's gimmick was over. At the time, his entrance video, had the computer screen, the loading bar. It's really good because you can tell Matt Hardy was getting over with that gimmick. It's a shame I don't think Matt Hardy belongs in the Cruiserweight division because at this time there was no big card belts at the time because they got rid of the IC title. Yeah, they brought it back in May. The United States title won't be introduced in June, so this is the only title that Matt Hardy is fighting for. You got the world title, the two world titles, the two tag team titles, and the women's title. So yeah, it's hard to fight. It's hard. It's very funny. It's funny. Like back in '03, there is no mid card belts in WWE. The only title you have to fight for is the Cruiserweight Championship. So anyway, Ray went on to regain the Cruiserweight title. Well, not regain or win the Cruiserweight title. I think it was the first time since he was in WCW. Beating Matt Hardy in May. 2 months later. So yeah, that was the only reign for Cruiserweight. It's the only Cruiserweight title reign for Matt Hardy. Maybe he doesn't really need it because yeah, it's a proof that you don't need to do high flying moves to be a Cruiserweight wrestler. He's there for the he's known for his character work. You got other wrestlers over the years don't need to do high flying spots to be a Cruiserweight wrestler like JB Noble, number one. Doesn't do a lot of high flying spots. He's more for like doing the cruiserweight. Doing the chain wrestling, mat style wrestling, same as Malenko. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on it. So it was a fun opener to kick off WrestleMania 19. I wish they had more time. So anyway, so moving on to the next match. So the next match originally was supposed to be a tag team match. I'll get to that shortly. That tag team part. So anyway, so we got The Undertaker. This is a handicap match. The Undertaker taking on the Big Show in A Train. Originally, it was supposed to be Undertaker teaming up with Nathan Jones against the Big Show in A Train. Unfortunately, early that night on Sunday Night Heat, Big Show attacked. I think it was Big Show got attacked by. Not Big Show got attacked. So Big Show attacked Nathan Jones. My apologies. I was right. Big Show didn't got attacked. He attacked Nathan Jones with A Train and the FBI, and they announced that the tag team match will turn into a handicap match. It's the way to win off Nathan Jones out of the match because he was not that great. He's very green. He's 6'11". He's 300 plus pounds. Yeah, he just really couldn't get it. He's just a big dude. He's just like, yeah. They tried to put the eggs in the Nathan Jones basket, and it did not work out. It didn't pan out. So anyway, so yeah, the storyline had Undertaker training with Nathan Jones, but he couldn't get it. So anyway, so the previous month on No Way Out, Undertaker defeat the Big Show. With I think he made him passed out with the Triangle Hulk, Triangle Choke. My apologies, Triangle Hulk. Sorry, speaking too fast. By the way, he choked the Big Show with the Triangle Choke, aka the Hell's Gate. So anyway, yeah. Also, you had Limp Bizkit playing, Undertaker's theme music. This is Undertaker's last WrestleMania as the American Badass. I'll get to that later on. So yeah, Limp Bizkit singing Undertaker's theme music, and also singing the WrestleMania's theme for the show. I think the theme music called "Crack at It." It will never fly today's day. It's just what it is. The more lean into R&B, not in rock and roll. At the time, I think music was super hot back then. The rock and roll thing was getting so. It was the last decade before it went downhill with the R&B and the pop. Anyway, so the match was okay. This is 12 minutes long. The handicap match. The Big Show Taker match was 14 minutes long. That was a bit boring. It was a bit better, but it's not saying too much. Anyway, it's just kind of there. So anyway, one more of the match, Big Show trying to chokeslam the Undertaker. Taker counted into a Fujiwara armbar onto the Big Show. Then Taker locked in the cross-arm breaker. It's not on the same level as Alberto Del Rio's cross-arm breaker. It's a different version of the submission hold. Anyway, so I'll try to keep it short and simple. Not boring. It wasn't really a boring match. It was kind of mediocre. I feel like, yep. It's just like, I don't know. I feel like this match doesn't belong on a WrestleMania. I feel like a B-rated pay-per-view, like a Backlash show or the Judgment Day match. Sorry, a Backlash match and a Judgment Day match. Sorry, I've got show in the brain. I'm speaking too fast, man. And also my throat's a bit dry. 1 second, folks. Yeah, this match belonged on a Backlash or Judgment Day, not a WrestleMania. Anyway, so in the end, Nathan Jones came out. He hit the Big Show. I think it was a roundhouse kick. Then he hit the A Train with the bicycle kick. This is years before Sheamus adopted the bro kick. Then Taker hit the Tombstone Power Driver onto the A Train. That's by the way, A Train is the former Albert. Part Big Show Prince Albert. Teaming up with Big Boss Man and also TNA, not TNA the company, but the tag team with Test and Albert with Trish Stratus. Anyway, so Undertaker, Tombstone, and pin the A Train. I call him the A Train, but yeah, the A Train. So he pins A Train for the win, and Undertaker is 11-0. So anyway, it was okay for what it is. Nathan Jones, you're not gonna Nathan Jones. Anyway, he'll never he was talk off TV months later, to learn his skills in OVW. He came back months later as a heel. The next high profile match for Nathan Jones was in a Survivor Series match, a Survivor Series Team Angle versus Team Lesnar. And then afterwards, on the 6th of December of that year, Nathan Jones quit the company because the company was touring in Australia. So basically, he got a free flight back to his home country, and that's the last time we see Nathan Jones in WWE. He retired in 2005. I think he had a run in MMA, and then he's now pursuing a career in acting. He's still been acting ever since. And also, this was like I said, the last WrestleMania for The Undertaker as the American Badass, because later that year, he got written off in the Buried Alive match against Vince McMahon, and then the following year's WrestleMania 20 in MSG, it came back as the Dead Man. You won't see Undertaker as the American Badass until AJ Styles, WrestleMania 36 in the Boneyard match. Yeah, that was a really good match. It was a good way to win off the Undertaker to end the Undertaker's career off that match. So yeah, it's a shame that Taker said in an interview that he wants to end his career for the as the American Badass. Spend the rest of his career with that gimmick. But unfortunately, they want Undertaker as the Dead Man. That's another story for another time. I don't want to discuss in this video. Try to review other matches on the show. So, okay, match. It's just the weakest match of the streak. It's like the next weaker Undertaker WrestleMania match was against Mark Henry, WrestleMania 22 in a casket match. So let's move on to the next match. So the next match, this is a triple threat match for the WWE Women's Championship. You could say third of 6 championship matches on the show. Victoria defending the belt against Jazz and Trish Stratus. Stevie Richards is in the corner of Victoria. Victoria was in the middle of a reign as the women's champion. I think it's the first time she won the women's title belt, or two, but this is no one actually. My apologies. She's in the middle on her first reign as the women's champion to beat Trish Stratus at Survivor Series the previous year in 2002. Because Victoria at the time, she was this lesbian, not really a lesbian character. She became this sadistic, basically like this lesbian psycho. I have to describe it. So anyway, I think they've been feuding for months between Trish and Victoria. Victoria is the future Tara in TNA. So the build up to this, there's no build up to this on an episode. I think it was on the Go Home Raw. Trish and Jazz had a match. Who will face the women's champion at WrestleMania, and the match ended, I think it ended a double disqualification. Victoria, it entered the disqualification, and they announced that the match became a triple threat match. So the match was good. It was a fun match. It was 10 minutes long. I think they got good time. They made it for what it is. It's boom, boom, bam into the action. Like the two heels at the time, I think it was Jazz and Victoria, ganging on Trish Stratus, hitting. I think they hit Trish with a double shoulder breaker. Trish was not really selling the shoulder, but mostly the back area. Anyway, so it was mostly the double heels women against Trish. Then it'll be Victoria versus Trish. Victoria versus Trish. I was right. And then Victoria versus Jazz versus Trish. Like one example, like one other match, Jazz locked Trish with the I think it was a one-legged Boston leg crab, and then she turned it into the STF. This is years before John Cena adopted that submission hold, even though the submission hold's been around for decades. So anyway, so Stevie threw Jazz out of the ring. I think before that, Trish hit I think it was Victoria or I think it was Jazz with the Stratosphere, and I think it was the Stratosphere. I might be wrong. Yeah, it was. I think it was the Stratosphere. I'm not too sure on it, so it's one or the other. So, anyway, yeah, everyone had that moment. In the end, Stevie Richards trying to hit Trish with the chair, but Trish got out of the way. Then, the chair kind of hit the ropes and hit Richards in the face with the chair, and then Trish hit the Stratusfaction onto Stevie Richards, and then Victoria trying to hit the Widow's Peak onto Trish Stratus, but instead Stratus countered it, hit the chick kick onto Victoria to win this match and become the women's champion for the fourth time in his career. So yeah, it was a fun match for what it is. Everyone had their moments. It didn't feel like a piss break match. It was boom, boom, bam into the action. Not, you could say I don't really call it a rush match. It's 10 minutes a time. I think they made it most for 10 minutes, and that was it. So, and I forgot to mention this. Stacey Kibler. When I go back to that women's segment from earlier, I forgot to mention that. As this video is recorded, Stacey Kibler is going to be inducted into the 2023 WWE Hall of Fame. Congrats to Miss Kibler. So I forgot to mention that. So anyway, it's a shame. It's a shame for Jazz. Very underrated worker. It's a shame she never came back to the company. Like, great example, when like the company does the women's Royal Rumble matches at the Royal Rumble, she never made her appearance. Even though Jazz retired in 2021, it's a shame. I think she left. I don't know if she left on very bad terms. Like, she left in 2004. Maybe it's a sign that the company told Jazz there's no ideas. There's no plans for her. And they're just like, yeah, they cut ties with Jazz. Just spend most of the time on the indie scene. But I could see I could see both Jazz and Victoria one day again inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Like, Victoria's not in the Hall of Fame. Lisa Marie Ferron. I don't think she's in the Hall of Fame. I thought, is she? Yeah, she's not in the Hall of Fame. I think I could. It's funny. Like, I hope both women, I'm talking about Jazz and Victoria, one day get inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. I think they deserve it. But they're becoming women's champion in their run in the company, the only run in the company. So anyway, let's move on to the next match. This is the fourth of 6 championship matches on the show, and this is for the WWE Tag Team Championships on SmackDown. World's Greatest Tag Team, aka Team Angle, defending the belts. By the way, that's Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas defending the belts against Rhino and Chris Benoit and Los Guerreros. They won the belts from Los Guerreros on the I think it was on the February's episode of SmackDown. I think it was the 4th of February's episode of SmackDown. Hold the belt ever since. Anyway, Rhino and Chris Benoit as a tag team, maybe in an ECW tie. I don't really know. Even though Benoit was in ECW for a bit. This was like in the early years of ECW, not mainstream ECW. In the like mid late 90s. I think it was the mid late 90s. Because at the time Benoit was in WCW. Maybe it's not an ECW tie. Maybe it has to do, Rhino and Chris Benoit, have history of neck injuries, And by the way, this is Chris Benoit's first WrestleMania since WrestleMania 17, because he missed the whole of 2001 and missed the whole Evasion storyline since the neck injury. He suffered a neck injury in 2001. And this is also Eddie Guerrero's first WrestleMania since WrestleMania 17, because he got fired from the company. I think it was drug possession, DOI. So both guys, Benoit and Eddie, came back the previous year in 2002. Benoit from injury, Guerrero after spending rest of 01 and the early parts of 02 in the indie scene, and then getting re-signed back to the company. So this match is similar to the women's match. It was fast paced, boom boom bam. There's too much to cover. The SmackDown, even though I know it's the WWE Tag Team Championships, but this is on SmackDown at the time. But it's too much to cover. But they had a good time. They had good moments. Boom boom bam. Everyone gets their moments. I'm trying to keep it short and simple, folks. It's not a bad match. No, don't get me wrong. It was a fun match, to watch. So in the end, Rhino hit Chavo with the gore. I think Eddie pulled Rhino out of the ring. Then Will's Great Tag Team, they're known for the techno style wrestlings, alongside with Benoit. And you could say Eddie Guerrero, even though Eddie and Chavo, the high flyers, the cruiserweights, they do a lot of mat style wrestling. I think everyone kind of gelling in this match. So anyway, Shelton Benjamin pinned Chavo Guerrero to win this match and retain the WWE Tag Team Championships. By the way, Team Angle, Will's Greatest Tag Team, whatever you call them, And they end up like getting they end up dropping the belts to Eddie Guerrero and Tajiri. That was in May, 2 months later. So that's another story for another time. World's Greatest Tag Team. I hope they'll be in the Hall of Fame one day. You know, I checked their like Wikipedia page. They won the ROH Tag Team titles. You know, they were in ROH for a bit and then won the Tag Team titles. Wow, shit, man, they're very underrated. You know, every place they've gone, you know, they had like reunions over the years. You know, I don't think they're gonna see another reunion now. Depending on like the bodies, I think Charlie Haas is in his 50s, Shelton's in his like 40s. You know, I don't know if they can do one more run as a tag team. I think they missed the boat on that. They should have like reunited again when Shelton came back to the company in 2016. I don't know, but anyway, so let's move on to the next match. So the next match, I call it the match of the night. We got Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid, taking on Y2J Chris Jericho. This is Shawn Michaels' first WrestleMania since WrestleMania 14 in 1998. You know, Shawn came back to pro wrestling in 2002, part of the NWO. He came back in the ring in a match against Triple H at SummerSlam. Got written off by Triple H. Came back in Survivor Series, won the first Chamber match, then dropped the world title to Triple H and Armageddon, then moved on to his next feud with Chris Jericho. So it started late 2002 when Shawn Michaels super kicked Chris Jericho. Then at the Royal Rumble, Jericho and Michaels entering the Royal Rumble matches number 1 and number 2. Jericho beat the Jehovah's. Yeah, that's a good name. That's good. Jehovah's. So Jericho beat the Jehovah's out of Shawn Michaels, blooded him up, threw him out of the ring, eliminated Michaels, and then Michaels came back months later to, you could say, eliminate Jericho, and that's not this match. So Jericho said, like, this video, yeah, this, the build up to this, and also the build up to this is not revolved around Jericho and Michaels. This is revolved around Jericho and Test, because at the time they're feuding. Like one moment in that build, you had Jericho locking the walls of Jericho onto Stacy Keibler, and then Jericho and Christian trying to hit Stacy with the Conchento. Shawn Michaels took the bullet. So anyway, so yeah, the show video archives of Jericho when he was starting out as a professional wrestler. You know, he was kind of like dubbed as the next HBK. And he said he doesn't want to become the next HBK. He wants to become the first Chris Jericho, because at the time Jericho was young, and he's been inspired by Shawn Michaels. But yeah, he said he doesn't want to become the next Shawn Michaels, but the first Chris Jericho. So anyway, so this was really good, man. Shawn Michaels came out shooting graffiti out of the confetti guns. One did not it did not work. So anyway, so this match was really good. I think the first moments of the match was chain style wrestling, and then it morphed into the high flying moments of this match. Like one more of the match, Jericho throws Shawn Michaels out of the ring. Shawn kind of like did this spot called the skin the cat. I think he kind of morphed it into. He kind of managed to Hurricanrana Jericho out of the ring, hit the crossbody off the top ropes and into the floor, and then he's trying to hit Shawn. He tried to hit Chris Jericho with a drop kick on the floor outside the ring, but Jericho counted into the walls of Jericho. Shawn was working on the back of not Shawn. Jericho was working on the back of Shawn Michaels, the injured back, that the same back injury that put him out for 4 years, way back in the late 90s. And then Shawn was working on the knees of Chris Jericho. Lock Chris Jericho with the figure 4 leg lock. They told a good story in the ring. Even though like Shawn and yeah, Shawn and Jericho, I think they can hang. I think people back then describe. Maybe they just don't. When Shawn, like, his first match back since the back injury was against, or the early retirement was against Triple H. Maybe having doubt on Shawn if Shawn cannot hang anymore, but he did. He can change things up. It's funny, like Shawn's in it. In this match, Shawn is in his mid to late 30s. Jericho's in his early 30s. Both like you had good chemistry. They told a good story in the ring. Anyway, so Shawn, I think, before that, yeah, Jericho hit his own version of the Sweet Chin Music onto Michaels. I think he kicked out of the Sweet Chin Music attempt by Jericho, and then Jericho managed to lock in the the walls of Jericho. And then Shawn reached the ropes, and yeah, and then he's arguing with the referee. I think it was Charles Robinson, the former Little Nate. Shawn he shouted like I tapped him out, and then Jericho ate the Sweet Chin Music. That was also, I think, was also a near fall. I think, yeah, it was really good. It was a really good match. I think back and forth. You know, anyway, so I think he hit the lion moonsault. I think Jericho attempted. It's there's one moment. This is one good spot, man. So Jericho was attempting to hit the suplex that Shawn Michaels countered it, but into a roll up to he was gonna hit the I'm gonna talk about that. So also like I'm reading the results on Wikipedia, even though I watched the show on the network, but it gives me more information if I forgot a moment of matches on the show. Anyway, so in the end, Jericho trying to suplex Michaels, but Michaels counting into a roll up, giving him the successful pinfall. Afterwards, Jericho offered to shake Michaels' hand, but instead, Jericho hugged Shawn Michaels. He thought, they embrace him. He's turning babyface, but instead it was a rouge. He kicked Jericho. Sorry, Michaels. Sorry, Jericho kicked Michaels in the balls, and that was it. So, he shouted like I'm better than you. Anyway, so wow, it was a really good match. I think this told a good story in the ring. Both guys had good chemistry, and also I think this is the first one-on-one match between Jericho and Michaels, because they fought at the first Elimination Chamber match at Survivor Series the previous year. That was a multi-man match. I'm talking about like a one-on-one match. This is the first time they fought one-on-one. So this is not the last time we see Jericho and Michaels fight in the ring. They fight in the six-man tag team match at Backlash. It was Triple H, Ric Flair, and Chris Jericho. My apologies. Taking on Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash, and Booker T. I think they fight a few times. They fought in the Team Bischoff, Team Austin match at Survivor Series that year. Then I think the following year, when Chris Jericho as a babyface, they fought against Shawn Michaels for the Intercontinental title. Then the next, but at this time they're not really truly feuded, because at the time Shawn went on to feud with members of Evolution. You could tell Jericho. You could say he was kind of like in this feud with Austin as the GM. Even though, because later on Austin was no longer a wrestler, that's another story for another time. I'll explain later. The next day truly feuded one on one with that'll be that epic personal rivalry in 2008. When Jericho was serious, because back then in '03, when Jericho was feuding with Shawn Michaels, Jericho was this loudmouth Y2J, and then fast forward 5 years later in 2008, Jericho was this serious Y2J. I think it's based on what's his name, the character for No Country for Old Men, Harry, what was it, Javi Bandera, Javier, I think it's called Javier Bandera. Yeah, Javier Bandera. I think it was Javier Bandera. He was a villain in the James Bond film. If you look it up, that was Skyfall, that film with Daniel Craig and was it Judy Dench, Dane Judy Dench. That's right. So yeah, it was based on Javi Bandera's character. If you, yeah, it's Javi Bardem. I keep saying Bandera. It's actually Javier Bardem's character from No Country for Old Men. So anyway, it's funny like the previous year's WrestleMania Jericho main event is one and only WrestleMania main event as the undisputed champion against Triple H. That was a bit. It was actually was disappointed because of this revolve around. It's more between Triple H and Stephanie than Triple H and Jericho over the championship. So, and fast forward 1 year later, he had a better match. It's got to be one of the best It's got one of the best Jericho WrestleMania matches in his throughout his career. Whether it's his first run, second run, third run, it's his best match in his career against Shawn Michaels. I think him and Shawn Michaels put on a really awesome match at WrestleMania 19. So moving on to the triple main events of WrestleMania 19. So moving on to the fifth or fourth actually. Forgot there's another match. So you could call it technically a main event match, but anyway. So the next match this is for the World Heavyweight Championship. Triple H with Ric Flair, his fellow Evolution member, in his corner, defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Booker T. So Triple H, lost the World Heavyweight title against Shawn Michaels at Survivor Series in the first Chamber match. Then 1 month later at Armageddon, Triple H regained the World Heavyweight title from Shawn Michaels in the Three Stages to Hell match. Then in the start, that was in like late 2002. Fast forward in the early parts of 2003, Triple H had series of bad matches against Scott Steiner at the Rumble and No Way Out. So the next challenger for Triple H was Booker T. Booker T won a battle royal to face Triple H for the title at WrestleMania, and this is a racist storyline. You know, it's not that racist, but I'll tell you why it's racist. So there's Triple H was basically bashing Booker. He was basically calling you're nothing more. Basically, like the backstory, a real life backstory of Booker T. Before he was a pro wrestler, he got in jail for an armed robbery. Yeah, Austin called keep saying why I keep saying Austin. Sorry, I was reading the Wikipedia page. No, it wasn't Austin. Triple H called Booker T. You're nothing more than a common street thug. You had no business with that bet. You had no business. Yeah, he had no business becoming champion. He kind of derailed. He actually fucking buried the WCW World Title. You know, at the same time. And then this one segment. You had this. I don't think you can find it on the network. Anyway, you're not gonna yeah, he also pointed out Booker T's, he downplayed Booker T's success in WCW when he was a five-time WCW World Champion, and he had been held by non-wrestlers like Vince Russo and David Arquette. Yeah, he was bashing WCW. I'll get more of that later on. So, it, you know, it's there's one racist segment. You're probably not gonna see on the network. I don't know. You had basically Triple H and Booker T. They're in the bathroom. Triple H throw money at Booker T to get him a towel. Made him try to think Booker T is Triple H's towel boy, and Booker beats Triple H. So that was a stupid racist storyline. It's not that racist. It's not like Triple H is saying Booker T the N word. That's like they'll never go in that direction. But it's just like it really I think it's designed to have people really want to get behind Booker T, want to beat the races at WrestleMania for the world title. He said, like, in his video package, he's not going to start to become the world champion, even though he's been a world champion in WCW in the past. So let's talk about this match. This was a good match, but the ending was bad. I'll get to that. Not bad, but I'll get to that later on. So it was a decent match. My nitpick about this match is, Ric Flair. Ric Flair got involved. Ric Flair got involved. He basically got involved. He basically kind of grabbed Booker T's leg, rammed it into the chair. Oh, not rammed it in the chair. Rammed it on the steel steps. Sorry. I'm stumbling. It's been 2 days since I watched the show, or 3 days since I watched. It's been a few days since I watched the show. Forgot to, but I'm trying to review it. My memory's a bit off a little bit. So yeah, Flair kind of rammed Booker T's leg onto the steel steps. Then Triple H applied the Indian Deathlock onto Booker T, softened the leg. Like some portions of the match, Booker T was selling the leg. Then Booker T trying to do a move off the top rope, and I think he kicked Flair off the ring apron. Booker T hit the Holland Hangover leg drop. It's the move, his old move when he was teaming up with his brother Stevie Ray in WCW. He hit it. I think he hit it on Triple H. Then, unfortunately, Ric Flair got his He kind of plays Flair kind of plays Triple H's foot on the ropes. Anyway, so in the end, Triple H hit the pedigree, and it took about 30 to 40 seconds. And by time Triple H managed to recover and managed to pin Booker T, the match finished. I feel like the match was a little rushed. Actually, it's not really a rush. I wish they had a little more minutes, but anyway, it's just like the wrong person gone over, man. Like it's just like in 40 seconds that person should have kicked out from the finisher. Unfortunately, Booker T didn't. At this moment in time, Triple H was fucking burying people left, right, and center. In this is the middle of the reign of terror of Triple H as the world champion. Yeah, the wrong person gone over. It's pointless to have someone like, or not someone, but doing this storyline that Triple H is belittle Booker T of his skin color, and and it also that he's not going to get the world title in the end. It's just bad. It's basically a massive disservice of the storyline. At the same time, yeah, Triple H was burying people left, right, and center. I feel like you could say RVD in '02, but going into the start of 2003 is the biggest burial for Triple H, man. Like Scott Steiner is another one, another former WCW World Champion. Like even though Scott Steiner, I'm not contradicting, but I'm saying like Steiner at the same time kind of like fucked himself over for not performing in those two Triple H matches at the Royal Rumble at No Way Out, but he deserved much better, and his momentum was gone after the Triple H feud. Booker T's momentum was gone after that. Funny that they had the rematch on Raw, and that match I think it ended disqualification when Jericho got involved. I think it was disqualification. It set up the 6-man tag team match: Triple H, Ric Flair, Chris Jericho taking on Booker T, Shawn Michaels, and Kevin Nash at Backlash the following month. So yeah, and Booker T never got one sniff of the world title until becoming King Booker in 2006. But that was a little bit too late. But at the same time, he had the King Booker gimmick that was over at the time. But because at the time, but after that, after the Triple H feud, Booker T was kind of in limbo a little bit. I think he was relegated into the mid card mid card picture with Christian. They restated the IC title, and yeah, he never got one sniff of the world title until 2006. Yeah, and also here's the kicker about this. Months later at SummerSlam, when Triple H was wrestling injured, going into that Elimination Chamber match at that year's SummerSlam. He buried Goldberg. I feel like he's just burying people left, right, and center. People are going about John Cena's burying talent. Triple H is started it first. The three wrestlers playing politics. Really truly play politics on a regular basis throughout like their careers. Was Hulk Hogan, John Cena, and Triple H. It's kind of true. So that's my 2 cents on it. So let's about other matches on the show. Despite before I watched the show, I thought this match between Triple H and Booker T is crap, but it wasn't crap. It was fun for what it is, but like I said, the wrong person got over. And I think the reason why Booker T got over, like his old catchphrase in WCW, is "Don't hate the player, hate the game." So that could play a massive part why Booker T got not squashed, but got his momentum was whitewashed and demolished at WrestleMania 19 in 2003. So moving on to the next match. This is a street fight. We got Hulk Hogan versus Mr. McMahon, aka Vince McMahon. So if Hogan loses, he has to retire. So Hogan came back in the start of 2003, and this is a personal rivalry between Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan. So this is around the 90s when Hogan left the WWF on very bad terms after WrestleMania 9. Yeah, he did Thunder in Paradise. He basically testified against Vince for the federal government because that was in the steroid trial. That was around I think it was around 1994. It's between 93 or 94. I think it was 1994, the steroid trial. So, and then Hogan went to the WWF's rival company, WCW, trying to put Vince's company out of business in the Monday Night War. Even though, like Hogan said in interviews that he doesn't want to see the WWF/WWE going out of business in that time period. So it's basically he really hated, Vince hated Hogan because one, trying to put him in jail, and two, trying to put his company out of business. So you guys believed Hogan like I create Hulkamania, even though Hulkamania's been around since the AWA. That was around the early 80s when Hogan jumped ship between the AWF and the AWF and and New Japan. So anyway, so the build up to the, and also they had this emotional, the video package, the hype package. You had like emotional theme music playing. It's sad. Like you said, Hogan said, Vince said to Hogan that I create Hulkamania. I'm gonna kill it. So anyway, let's talk about this match. So this match, I think it was good. I really enjoyed this match between Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan. It was a really good match. Even though like they're not known for their wrestling skills, Vince is complete trash in the ring. If it's a one-on-one normal match, Hogan is not known for his wrestling skills. He's just a big bodybuilding dude, with tan with and the muscles. Anyways, Vince is like Jesus Christ, fucking big man. In those mid 2000s, even though like I don't know he took steroids. I don't want to talk about that. So anyway, so it was a really good match. I think like bulk of the match, it's they did the test of strength. Vince was working on the arm of Hogan, and then Hogan clubbers Vince with the chair. He bled, and then minutes later, Vince clubbed Hogan with the same chair, and Hogan's bleeding. And then I think Hugo Savanovich took the bullet, and then Vince like climbed up the ladder, and then hit Hogan with the did I say Logan? I say Hogan. Yeah, Hogan with the leg drop off the ladder and through the announce table. I'm trying to keep it short and simple, folks. It was really good, and also there's footage of Vince in this match, smiling, covered in blood, with the crimson mask, holding a lead pipe, and then we got the return of Roddy Piper. And this was Roddy Piper's first, you could say this is the start of his first return to the company since 1996. His last WrestleMania appearance was WrestleMania 12. I think it was a Hollywood brawl against Goldust. And afterwards, Piper ended up going to WCW. Anyway, so he was wearing a trench coat and he was teasing to hit Vince with the pipe. But instead, he hit Hogan with the pipe. I'll get to more of that later. So anyway, and you had Silva, and also you had Sylvain Grenier, trying to interfere in this match. He throwed, I think it was Brian Hebner, the son of Earl Hebner, the referee. By the way, forgot to mention about Grenier. Grenier cost Hogan the match against The Rock at No Way Out the previous month. So unfortunately, his plans backfired. Hogan threw Grenier out of the ring, hit the big boot on Vince, hit not one. I think he hit not one, not two, but three running leg drops onto Vince to win this match. And Hogan's career is intact. So, and also this was Hogan's first WrestleMania win since WrestleMania 9 against Yokozuna a decade ago. Because he lost his first WrestleMania back for almost a decade against The Rock at the previous year's WrestleMania in Canada. So, and then we got the return of Shane McMahon. Shane, I think it was Shane's first appearance on WWE television since the end of the Invasion storyline. I don't think he didn't make a single appearance in 2002. He wasn't playing a heel. He's just like trying to help his old man up. And Vince give Hogan the middle finger. And this is not the end of the rivalry between Vince and Hogan, because the following SmackDown, they kind of like rewritten Vince from the story. They kind of written Vince. Vince ran Hogan off the storyline. He basically suspended Hulk Hogan, and then Hogan came back 1 or 2 months later as Mr. America. That is completely stupid. One day we'll talk about that storyline with Hogan as Mr. America. It's completely stupid. So. And going back to Piper attack Hogan, this is set up Hogan Piper at Judgment Day in May of that year as Hogan as Mr. America. Then Piper ended up getting fired from the company because he said some controversial stuff on a HBO documentary. Look it up. So, and Piper ended up getting re-signed with the company, getting inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, be active with the company until his death in 2015. So. Yeah, besides that, Vince, and also this is Vince McMahon's first WrestleMania match since facing his son Shane 2 years earlier. This is revolved around WCW. Even though this show was after the end of the Monday Night Wars, after Shane announced become the owner of WCW in kayfabe. So um, I've got to mention this. So anyway, so fun match. I think it's like the top three or top four best match of this WrestleMania. So moving on to the next match. So the next match, we got yeah, this is the climax of a 6-year rivalry. Yeah, The Rock taking on Stone Cold Steve Austin. Both guys debuted in 1996 with crap gimmicks. The Rock with Rocky Maivia, Austin with the Ringmaster. Because Austin debuted in the beginning of the year, Rock at the end of the year. 1997, they won their first singles championships. With Austin won the IC title in the summer. Rock won it in the end of the year. Then in 1998, both Rock and Austin went on to win their first world titles. Austin in the beginning of the year, The Rock at the end of the year. So you can tell like Rock and Austin's like careers, they're kind of like parallel. The first match they fought one-on-one was at DX in Your House. Go and check out my review of check out my story arc. It's WWF in 1997, 25 years later for more information. So anyway, so that was their first match, and the first match at WrestleMania was at WrestleMania 15 in 1999. Austin beat The Rock to win the WWF title. Then 2 years later, they had the WrestleMania rematch at WrestleMania 17 in Texas, Austin's home state. Austin once again beat The Rock and went for the championship. And also on that same night, Austin turned heel, allied himself with Mr. McMahon, and the rest is history. Anyway, and fast forward to 2002, Austin walked out of the company. It was over like creative disputes over Brock Lesnar. Don't want to get into it. I mentioned in my review of Judgment Day 02. Go and watch it. Anyway, so Austin took his ball and went home. He came back, at No Way Out the previous month and beat down Eric Bischoff in a match. Rock, dropped the undisputed WWE Championship to Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. He left. You won't see The Rock again until the start of 2003. He began the Hollywood Rock gimmick. His fame in Hollywood was getting into his head. He beat Hulk Hogan at No Way Out after, you can say the debut of Sylvain Grenier, the French-Canadian referee, and that was setting up Vince and Hogan at this show, WrestleMania 19. So I like this segment. I know there's one segment I'm going to talk about. I don't call it a segment. I like this segment. Why don't I call it a segment? But I like this character of Hollywood Rock because at the time, even though Rock was pursuing a career in Hollywood, his Hollywood career was not on the same level as right now in our current timeline. But he's like, they did a storyline like his fame in Hollywood to get to his head. There's one segment I'm going to talk about, and it's really good. It's really, 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 really good. Yeah, yeah. So it's really good. So it's the Rock concert, man. It's really funny. Go and check it out on YouTube. I really watch it. It's fucking funny. Rock was doing a rock concert for Austin. Like he's basically trash talking the fans in Sacramento. Like, you got some fat ass women. I should come back when the Lakers beat the Kings in May. I kind of like that. He's singing songs the same musical tone as Hound Dog by Elvis Presley and My Way by Frank Sinatra. My apologies. I'm speaking too fast, by the way. My throat's a bit dry. 1 second. Anyway, so and also Rock had this mini feud with the Hurricane. I think Rock called the Hurricane at Shane Helms the Hamburglar. He's just like really good, man. I think Hollywood Rock is so entertaining and very underrated. It's a shame he never came back in 2011 with that gimmick. I think it'll probably be super more entertaining because at the time it'd be more effective because at the time when he came back in 2011, his Hollywood career is starting to boom back in the early 2000s when he's starting out as an actor. So anyway, and also The Rock, said like his grand desire to beat he never beat Austin at WrestleMania because he lost the two WrestleMania matches in 15 and 17 in 99 and 01. So anyway, the match. I think it was a fun match between Austin and The Rock. Austin, not Austin. The Rock was working on the legs of Austin, and locking in the sharpshooter. Never get it why Rock was locked in that submission hold because I get it in Survivor Series '98 when The Rock won the WWF Championship against Mankind in the finals of the Deadly Games tournament. That was get some heat, but at the same time was the 1 year anniversary of the Montreal Screwjob. But they decided to, hey, let's use that hold as The Rock's moveset, and he's been doing it throughout his career, whether it's his first run and his second run in the company. Even though he looks shit, the submission hold. Ed does a better sharpshooter than The Rock, Anyway, and also he was wearing Austin's vest. It's funny, like I forgot. I don't think I mentioned this, but I'm gonna mention it right now. At the previous month's pay-per-view No Way Out in The Rock's match against Hulk Hogan, The Rock, wearing the Hulk's, you're wearing Hogan's bandana to get some heat. He's just goddamn entertaining. Whether it's when The Rock was starting out as The Rock when he was part of the Nation Domination in '97 and early '98, or the corporate champ, in late '98, early '99, or Hollywood Rock in 2003. It's debatable which version of The Rock as the heel which heel character of The Rock is much better. It's one or the other. So, when it was joining the Nation Domination, corporate champ Rock, or Hollywood Rock as a heel character. So anyway, so I think both of them they basically hit each other's finishing moves. Like for The Rock hit Austin with the Stone Cold Stunner, Stone Cold hit The Rock with the Rock Bottom, and I think I think it's like Austin kicked out the Rock's Rock Bottom, Rock kicked out the Stone Cold Stunner. It was just basically spanning moves. And it's just like I'll get to more of that shortly. But it didn't really bother me. That was my slightly nitpick about this match, but I think they told a good story in the ring. Anyway, so The Rock got the victory over Austin. He hit not one, not two, but three Rock Bottoms onto Austin to win this match. And that was the end of Stone Cold Steve Austin's career. I'll get to that shortly. So. This match, I compare it to the Rock John Cena match at WrestleMania 29 10 years later. I think it's because they're also spanning finishes, I feel like it was just rush, not trying to flesh out. Yeah, I forgot to mention this. Rock did a promo earlier that, people don't, not people, but he said it doesn't matter if it's Act 1 or Act 2. All it matters that is Act 3. And he said, finally, He also he hate the people for turning on The Rock, Anyway, so yeah, I forgot to mention that, I mentioned it right now. But anyway, so yeah, it was a good match, Going back to that, I feel like this match is similar to the John Cena Rock match from Mania 29, spanning finishes, not new, like new segment of this match. Even the only new segment is of this match is just The Rock wearing Austin's vest, but at least they don't hug it out. Rock and Austin, even though they're best friends in real life, compared to John Cena and The Rock. I said in my review of WrestleMania 29, I think it's so anticlimactic because they've been feuding for 2 years, 1 or 2 years. They're fighting on social media, and also then shitting at the end of WrestleMania 29, hugging it out. If they want to do that, do it backstage, but not do it when the cameras are showing. With millions of people are watching this show. Talking about WrestleMania 29, but anyway, it's basically I know kayfabe's dead, but I think at that time John Cena and The Rock, they're kind of like in 2013, they're kind of like trying to shit on their own product. So anyway, so back in 2003, I don't think they shit the product. I glad they didn't hug it out, probably hug it out at back, you know. But besides that, and also I forgot to mention this, um, Austin was taken into hospital the previous day because he suffered like a high blood pressure. He was drinking a lot of energy drinks and it was energy drinks and caffeine. Yeah, it was high in caffeine. It was energy drinks and coffee. I mean coffee. So anyway, and also I watched this documentary. It's called Mania of Manias. It's basically a documentary of WrestleMania 19. It's more of the preparation for this review of WrestleMania 19. His real life is kind of like crumbling. Like great example, like Austin's marriage to Deborah is coming to an end. You know, they end up getting divorced. It's just what it is. So anyway, I forgot to mention that. So anyway, this was, like I said, this was not the Rock, Austin's final match as a professional wrestler, and people at the time do not know it was Austin's final match as a professional wrestler because the only three wrestlers kind of knew, or not three wrestlers, but the only three people know that it's Austin's final match was The Rock himself, Jim Ross, and Vince McMahon. You know, I think at the time why Austin's retiring because I think his body was breaking down. The dude's like nearly 40. He's been doing it since 1989. You know, it's taking a toll of his body. Oh, but I don't say. I cannot. People say they'll blame it on the neck injury he sustained in 1997, play a massive part. Yeah, I say on one side says like maybe the neck injury he sustained by Owen Hart at SummerSlam in 1997 played a massive part. I don't know, man. But yeah, but on the other hand, I don't think if Austin did stayed as an active pro wrestler, I don't think yeah, I don't think Austin will fit in the ruthless aggression era. I think he's better off stay retired. You know, how are you gonna fit in another era of wrestling? It's hard. You know, it's just what it is. So this was Austin's final wrestling match for almost 19 years. You know, WrestleMania 38 in the main event of night one of that year's WrestleMania against Kevin Owens. That was an improv 2 match. You know, it's a way to get Austin getting his win back since losing to The Rock in his actual final match as a professional wrestler. And then he kind of ride towards the sunset. So anyway, I said in my review of WrestleMania 24 after the match between Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels when Flair did that farewell, and then 2 years later in TNA he come out of retirement. It's basically shitting. Wrestlers don't stay retired after they do this stipulation, even though there's no stipulation on the line because everyone at the time doesn't know it was Austin's last match. But anyway, so I don't want to get into that. So anyway, so yeah, Austin had this he kind of walked towards the sunset as a full-time wrestler. He remained on WWE programming over the years, even though he's only showed up occasionally. So anyway, even though The Rock is the co-star, but Austin's the main catalyst when the company went on that boom period they had, the second boom period they had 7 years earlier. So yeah, it was the end of Austin's career as a full-time wrestler. It's not the last time we see Stone Cold Steve Austin on WWE programming throughout the years. And I forgot, and also to cap it up, as for The Rock, the following month at Backlash, he put over the debut Goldberg, and you won't see Rock again until I say late '03, confronting members of La Resistance, helping his fellow former tag team partner Mick Foley. Then he teamed up with Mick Foley against Evolution at the following year's WrestleMania in MSG. Against Evolution members Randy Orton, Batista, and Ric Flair, and that will be The Rock's last match in wrestling for several years until Survivor Series 2011, and his last WrestleMania match was against John Cena at Mania 28, 8 years later. So that's my 2 cents on it. So let's move on to the next match. So the next match is actually the main event. So the main event time, this is for the WWE Championship. Kurt Angle defending the belt against Brock Lesnar. So fast forward. So In November of '02, Brock Lesnar dropped the WWE Championship against the Big Show after Paul Heyman turned on Brock Lesnar. Then fast forward in December of 2002, and by the way, it led up to Brock Lesnar turning the babyface in the process. So yeah, like I said, fast forward to December the following month, Kurt Angle defeat the Big Show for the WWE Championship. Then in January of 2003, Kurt Angle retained the WWE Championship against Chris Benoit. Brock Lesnar won the 2003 Royal Rumble match. Then in February, they had a 2-on-3 handicap match at No Way Out. Team Angle versus Brock Lesnar and Chris Benoit. It was supposed to be Lesnar, Benoit, Edge, but Edge unable to compete because of the neck injury. So it was a 2-on-3 handicap match. So speaking of neck injuries, on that same match, Brock hit the F5 on Lesnar. Lesnar suffered a neck injury. He re-injured his neck in that match against Lesnar and Benoit. So yeah, he's fucked. His neck was hurt. You know, I think I think it's the first time he injured his neck since 1996 when he competed in the Olympic Games. So and here's the original idea. I'm gonna explain right now. So the original plans for this, there were plans to have Lesnar, well, actually not Lesnar, Kurt dropping the belt to Lesnar before WrestleMania, and then they pencil in ideas. They got the original like here's the new plan if Angle, like drop the belt to Lesnar and prepare for his neck surgery. There were plans to do Brock Lesnar versus Chris Benoit for the championship. Because Benoit will be the replacement opponent for Angle. Unfortunately, I don't think we never got that match. Lesnar, Benoit on paper, that'd be good. But for the last minute, they changed plans. Kurt wants to do this match with Lesnar and retain the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 19. So yeah, it's really funny that the plans change. You imagine in a different universe they did Benoit Lesnar for the championship instead of Lesnar Angle. So they did this, and also here's the kick about this. I'm not saying it in a bad way. This is not this is the second match at WrestleMania 19. The first match was on SmackDown. I think it was on the Go Home SmackDown. This was before WrestleMania, so they had this match between Lesnar and Angle for the championship. They did this twin magic, instead of Kurt Angle, it was Kurt Angle's brother Eric Angle portraying as Kurt Angle, and then Kurt Angle retained the title. Stephanie informed Kurt Angle that Team Angle are banned from ringside. That's Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas, and if he gets disqualified and counted out, he will forfeit the WWE Championship. So let's talk about this match. I don't really call it the match of the night. I think the match of the night for me was Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho. But this match was still good. Both guys their backgrounds are similar because they're both former amateur wrestlers. Brock Lesnar is a former, what's it called? The NCC, was it the NCAAW? I think he's the NCAA champion. I can't really pronounce it properly. And Kurt Angle is an Olympic gold winner, won the gold medal at the 1996 Olympic Games. Both have similar backgrounds, and I think they really click very well. So it was the first bulk of the match was chain wrestling, technical style, mat style wrestling. Both guys you could tell they have good chemistry between Lesnar and Angle. This is before Lesnar in his second run doing the Suplex City thing and mixture of the MMA style with the Kimura lock. Anyway, so this is Brock when he was a beast. They dubbed him as the Pain. Brock is a beast, don't get me wrong, but I don't like the Beast nickname. I like the Pain nickname better because, the reason why they call him the Beast, because the reason why they don't call him the Pain anymore has to do with the company went PG, I'm guessing. Anyway, I really enjoyed this match, I think one more of the match, Angle counted the F5. I think he counted into the ankle lock, reached the ropes, a lot of suplex, I think Lesnar also hit the suplex onto Angle. Angle is slugging it out, even though his neck is injured. Give kudos to Kurt Angle to slugging it out, to put on a good match for the people. So now upon into the Rocks people. Lesnar, not Lesnar. I think he did hit the F5. I think it was three F5s. Actually hit two F5s before that. Before we get to the third F5, he hit two F5s onto Angle. Angle kicked out. Kudos. I thought Angle could probably be paralyzed, but he did slug it out. Even though his neck is so badly hurt. Anyway, so the next segment or moment. Sorry, I keep saying segments. I mean moments, but the next moment. This is got to be one of the most but one of the biggest botches, not just in WWE's history, but in professional wrestling history. Brock Lesnar was going for the shooting star press. Um, that was I think the shooting star press. I'm guessing this is Lesnar's former old finisher in his days in OVW before the F5 was the adopted finisher. So he's been hitting that finishing hold, or not finishing hold, the finishing move when he was in developmental. And it's funny, like I used to have the copy of WWE 12, and this is before no, not Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar officially came back to the company. Brock Lesnar's second finisher. Not, the first finisher is the F5. His second finisher is the shooting star press. I played Brock Lesnar as the character, and it looks good. But yeah, he hits watching like Lesnar's developmental matches. He hit it pretty damn well. But in this match, he attempts to do it. He's about to do it. He's trying to hit the shooting star press. Unfortunately, he missed Angle by a centimeter. Lesnar land on his head, and I think that caused a concussion. You could tell that it leading up to this is kind of more a little bit anticlimactic, not anticlimactic, but it's kind of like it's more like a holy shit moment. Like Angle is fucked up with the neck injury. Now Lesnar is now probably suffered a concussion. And how the fuck is Lesnar still alive? How the hell is not dead or paralyzed? If Brock, back then he's super jacked. If Brock didn't have the muscles around his traps and shoulders and arms, he'll be probably be and his neck, also his neck, muscles in his neck, he will be probably be dead. He'll be probably be DAE dead. If he didn't have the muscles. Anyway, so almost the biggest moment. This is sorry, it was my cat making the noise. Anyway, so instead of becoming one of the biggest moments of WrestleMania history, this has got to be one of the biggest botches of WrestleMania history, man. So anyway, so I think the third F5 to pin Angle was an audible. So Lesnar hit the F5 for the third time onto Kurt Angle, pin him, and Brock Lesnar regained the WWE Championship. I think that was a plan all along. He dropped the belt to Big Show at No Way Out, not No Way Out, Survivor Series in November, and have Lesnar win the Rumble in January and win the title in March. It was the original idea, and yeah, Lesnar won the WWE Championship for the second time in his career. Afterwards, Angle and Lesnar shake hands, embrace each other, and the show comes to a close. And this was the end of Team Angle as we know it, as a trio. Because afterwards, Angle went on to take some time off to get prepare for surgery. It's a shame that Angle never reunite with Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas. They never reunited as a trio ever again, because they stayed as a tag team until Shelton broke up. They reunited in 06-07. Then, they reunite years later in the indie scenes and ROH. That's a different story for another time. So anyway, so after WrestleMania, Lesnar he went on to have a one-match feud with John Cena at Backlash the following month. Then he went on to have a program with the Big Show at Judgment Day in a stretcher match. Then they had they had that match on SmackDown when Lesnar collapsed the ring, suplexed the Big Show and the ring collapsed, made Taz go holy shit. Then Angle came back from the neck injury, Then he regained the WWE Championship against Brock Lesnar in a triple threat match between Lesnar, Angle, Big Show at Vengeance. Did I Judgment Day? I mean Vengeance, but anyway. So and then Big Show, not Big Show, Brock Lesnar and Angle went on to resume their rivalry going into the summer when Brock as a heel fought at SummerSlam. Then they fought in the Iron Man match at SmackDown in September, I think. It's a shame they never did it on a pay-per-view. That's just me. So the fight one more time. The last time they actually fight one-on-one was in New Japan in 2007 when Kurt was I think he defeated Brock Lesnar for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. And because at the time both Lesnar and Angle left on very bad terms, that's another story of another time. And it's funny that Brock Lesnar. This was really the best Brock Lesnar match at WrestleMania, because so far his WrestleMania matches are disappointed, and it's funny that the next year's WrestleMania had an absolute stinker against Goldberg. That's another story for another time. So it's good to see Brock Lesnar regain the championship and close out WrestleMania 19. My final overall rating for WrestleMania 19. I'm gonna give it a 10.5 out of 10. It's very difficult, People say WrestleMania 17, but it's debatable which one's the greatest WrestleMania of all time, 17 or 19. It's similar to, for me, comparing which one's the greatest MCU movies of all time between Avengers Infinity War or Avengers Endgames. For me, I say Infinity War over Endgames. That's another story another time. That's another story of another time. So anyway, but it's like WrestleMania. Which one's the greatest WrestleMania of all time? I believe in my opinion, I say WrestleMania 17 is the greatest WrestleMania of all time. I think this show, WrestleMania 19, they had sorry, I'm speaking too fast. I'm trying to they had run with their money. Had run of WrestleMania 17's money. I'm trying to describe it. It's come very close. I'm trying to say. I give WrestleMania 17 the full beans. This almost the full beans. Like I said, no terrible matches on the show. The only thing in the bad for me has to be the Catfight Girls, Stacy Keibler, Tony Wilson pillow fight segment early on that show. The ending of Triple H Booker T was so anticlimactic. The Undertaker A-Train Big Show match was okay, wasn't terrible. It wasn't going to be like a 4-star classic, but it's just kind of there, Anyway, but besides that, I think there's some consistency in this match. I really enjoy some matches. It's 3 to 4 matches, in the show. I like the cruiserweight title match from the opener was good. I like the triple threat women's match for the women's title was fun. Same as the WWE Tag Team Championship triple threat match. The match of the night for me was Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho. I like the Triple H Booker T match, even though the finish was BS. It was anticlimactic, like I said. Hogan and Vince in the street fight was fun. Same as Rock Austin 3, and including Brock and Lesnar, Brock and Angle. Sorry. Even though you had the botch shooting star press moment for Brock Lesnar. So yeah, I suggest watching the show WrestleMania 19. I give it 2 thumbs up. So anyway, so hope you enjoy my review of WrestleMania 19. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Smash like button. What's your thoughts of WrestleMania 19? Yeah, like I said, write down in the comment section below. Smash like button. Click the like, click the bell. Subscribe to the Central Man Network on YouTube. Be part of the Central Unit for more wrestling videos and more. Next time, I'm going to review one more WrestleMania before this WrestleMania season is out, because we're very close to WrestleMania 39 in a couple of days. Next time, we're going to travel 5 years into the year of 1998. The first WrestleMania of the Attitude Era. We got brother versus brother, a Heartbreak Kid, the Showstopper versus a Rattlesnake, with the baddest man on the planet as the Enforcer. That really kicked off the Austin era. You know what I'm talking about. The next classic WrestleMania I'm going to review is